Let's go Ravens! Sometimes the most revealing moments about a football team don't happen during a game. They don't happen during training camp battles. They don't happen during press conferences. Instead, they happen when players let their guard down, start laughing, and simply react. And that's exactly why a recent Ravens challenge may have revealed something that fans absolutely love to see. Because what started as a simple game of identifying Ravens highlights quickly turned into something much bigger. It became a reminder of how connected this team is to the franchise's past, how much today's players appreciate Ravens history, and how certain moments have become so iconic that they can be recognized almost instantly, even without seeing a jersey number. Before we continue, make sure you've already hit the like button if you're proud to be part of Ravens flock. And if you're optimistic about the future of this team, leave a comment below. Go Ravens! The future is bright! I want to see how many Ravens fans are excited to watch this next chapter of Ravens football unfold. Now let's get right into it. The challenge seemed simple enough. A series of Ravens highlights would be shown. The player had to identify who was featured in each clip. Sounds easy, right? Not exactly. Some moments were obvious. Others required a second look. And a few created hilarious reactions that immediately showed how competitive and entertaining these players can be when the cameras are rolling. One of the first discussions centered around a celebration. The reaction immediately brought Lamar Jackson into the conversation. There was a story about Lamar not being happy because a celebration wasn't initially understood. After it was explained, everything suddenly made sense, creating one of the funniest exchanges of the entire segment. The story wasn't really about the celebration itself, it was about the relationship between teammates and the way they interact away from game day. Then came a much easier challenge. A scoop and score by Roquan Smith appeared. The recognition was immediate. No hesitation, no guessing. The response came instantly. What made the moment even better was the reaction afterward, joking about how fast Roquan looked during the return. Moments later, the challenge became more difficult. A clip appeared and there was uncertainty. But then came a fascinating observation. The player wasn't identifying the highlight through the uniform. He wasn't identifying it through the number. He recognized it through movement, through body language, through style. The answer? Ed Reed. Think about how remarkable that is. Some players become so iconic that teammates can identify them simply by the way they move on a football field. According to the reaction, even the way Ed Reed carried the football helped give him away. That's the type of impact only legendary players leave behind. Then came one of the funniest moments of the entire challenge. A highlight appeared. The player started watching carefully, trying to figure it out, looking for clues, and then suddenly realized something. The clip was actually himself. The laughter that followed made it clear that nobody expected that reveal. The reaction became even funnier when he started talking about how strange the image looked on the screen. Those are the moments fans love, not because of the football, because of the personality. Because it gives fans a chance to see players in a completely different environment. Then another clip appeared. This time there was zero doubt. The answer came immediately. Lamar Jackson. And the giveaway wasn't even the play itself. It was the towel. That small detail instantly triggered recognition before the highlight fully developed. Moments later, the famous spin move against Cincinnati appeared, making the answer even easier. And honestly, Ravens fans probably would have recognized that one just as quickly. Some plays become part of franchise history. Some plays become attached to a player's identity forever. Lamar's spin move belongs in that category. Then came another easy identification. Derrick Henry. The reason? His size. The reaction focused almost entirely on how massive he looked, especially in slow motion. Every movement seemed exaggerated because of his power and physical presence. It was one of those moments where the player didn't need many clues at all. But perhaps the most interesting moment came later. A highlight appeared. The player watched it once, then watched it again. Still wasn't completely sure. Eventually a guess was made. Ray Lewis. And after the reveal, it turned out to be correct. The reaction afterward was priceless, especially when he joked that he didn't grow up watching linebacker highlights. That moment perfectly captured what made the challenge so entertaining. You had current stars. You had franchise legends. You had unforgettable plays. And you had genuine reactions that couldn't be scripted. But then another current Ravens player entered the spotlight. Nate Wiggins. And unlike some of the previous guesses, this one came with confidence. The player immediately recognized him and even referenced seeing the clip before. That familiarity made the answer one of the easiest of the entire challenge. And that's where this story becomes really interesting. Because throughout the challenge, there was a constant connection between different generations of Ravens football. Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, Derrick Henry, Nate Wiggins, the past, the present, and the future, all appearing together in a single conversation. What makes that connection between generations of Ravens players so fascinating is that you can almost see the respect developing in real time throughout the challenge. Because when legendary names started appearing on the screen, the reactions changed. There was curiosity, there was admiration, and there was recognition of just how iconic some of these moments have become within Ravens history. Take Ed Reed, for example. The reaction wasn't simply, "I know that play." The reaction was based on movement, the way he carried himself, the way he handled the football, the way he moved across the field. Those are things that can't be taught through a highlight package alone. Those are traits that become part of a player's identity. And that's what separates certain players from everyone else. When fans can identify a player from a silhouette, when teammates can identify a player from a few seconds of movement, when nobody even needs a jersey number, that's when you know you're talking about someone special. The same thing seemed to happen with Lamar Jackson. Before the play fully developed, recognition happened almost instantly. The towel, the movement, the body language, the way he occupies space on the field. Everything about it immediately pointed toward Lamar. And honestly, that's a remarkable thing to think about. Because every generation of Ravens football seems to produce players who become instantly recognizable. Players who create moments that live on for years. Players who leave an imprint on the organization. That's why the Nate Wiggins reaction stood out too. Unlike some of the legendary clips that required a little thought, Nate was recognized almost immediately. The confidence was obvious. The familiarity was obvious. And it showed how quickly certain players can establish an identity among teammates. Now, nobody is comparing careers. Nobody is making those kinds of statements. But what stood out was the simple fact that his style was recognizable enough to trigger an immediate reaction. That's a compliment in itself. Then there was Derrick Henry. And perhaps the funniest part about his identification was how little mystery there actually was. The comments focused almost entirely on size and power. The moment the clip started, the reaction practically said everything. Some players are known for speed. Some are known for finesse. Some are known for instincts. And some are simply known for being physically overwhelming. That entire sequence perfectly illustrated why these kinds of challenges are so entertaining. They're not really about getting answers right. They're about hearing how players think. They're about hearing what stands out to them. They're about discovering which traits make certain players unforgettable. And throughout this challenge, one theme kept appearing over and over again. Recognition. Recognition of greatness. Recognition of memorable moments. Recognition of players who left a lasting impact. Even the Ray Lewis moment reflected that. There was uncertainty at first. There was a second look. There was a guess. And then there was the realization that it was actually correct. The laughter afterward made it even better because it felt completely genuine. Those reactions remind fans that players are fans of football too. They study the game. They appreciate the game. And they understand the significance of the players who helped shape the league before them. In many ways, this challenge became a celebration of Ravens football. Not just current Ravens football. All Ravens football. The legendary figures. The unforgettable highlights. The current stars. And the younger players who are trying to create their own moments that future generations might recognize one day.